After last week's video on the Anthurium Michelle being released at Home Depots across the country, we got more info about it being dropped this week at even more stores. So this brought up the ethical question to me, and I posed this in last week's video, which is plant flipping morally unethical or just kind of crappy? Let's dive into this today because I don't think it's as clear and dry as some people might think, and there's a lot of different opinions around this subject. The Anthurium Michelle is being released beyond the Pacific Northwest, beyond that Oregon, Washington, and even that East Coast, New Jersey. This week, there has been sightings in Las Vegas, Glendale, California. I think Pasadena was on the map, someplace off of Wilshire here in Los Angeles. So that made me go out now twice this week. And of course, there were not any there. That is supposed to be one of the bigger ones, the bigger Home Depots in the area. So it made me start to think, like, are people starting to buy these Anthuriums up and hoard them? Now, in this plant in particular, I don't think a lot of people are buying them at the $95 price point and then, reselling them for much higher, because I think the market has kind of compressed for that margin, because plant flippers end up out of business usually. But after running around, it did kind of get a little frustrating, and I'm going to go out and check again this morning. It's 5:50 in the morning this morning. After I record this, I'm going to go check another few stores just to see. Now, it's one thing if you go out and you buy one for a friend, say, or even maybe buy, I guess, a couple, and then, pass them along to people for maybe that price plus a few bucks of gas. I think the key with plant flipping is always trying to add value. But that's kind of where the moral question lies. Like, is it unethical to even buy up a few of them and kind of hoard them from the local people and not really allow them to have their chance at buying them? And Home Depot is just a regular retail store. This isn't a wholesale nursery, right? This isn't a place not open to the public. But I forget what plant it was. Maybe it was a type of pothos. I know it was an easily propagatable plant because people were buying up like dozens of them at big box stores, chopping them up and then reselling them. This is like peak plantdemic, 2020, 2022, somewhere in that little time frame. But I mentioned to my wife, I was like, is that crappy if like people are going out and buying up these Michelles because they're in California and I can't find them? But I think it's totally fine if like 20 people went to the Home Depot and 20 people scored. I think that's awesome. And even if like 15 people went, you grab one for a friend, like no problem. I don't think. I think there were a couple really thoughtful questions about this topic on last week's video from Jacqueline and also from this other user. And essentially they say, no, I don't think it's ethical for people to take the plants from local people. If they sit there for weeks and no one buys them, then I will take them in an effort to rehome them, but not with in-demand plants. That's messed up regardless of what the item or product is. And this is a key point, that end point of what the product is. I'm sure we all remember the pandemic time of hoarding like toilet paper, and even recently there was a baby formula supply shortage.
Parents are desperate with scenes like this playing out in stores.
Look at this. Look at all this.
Because I need
Look at the shelves. You don't think I need it for my baby too?
Well, this is the whole reason why there's a formula shortage. You take all the formula off the shelf and buy it all at once?
And to me, that's where, like, we're not talking about like houseplants, just like fun to have, but like I'm a parent, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are, but like taking up like baby formula and buying it up because of that scarcity mindset that's to me, that's unethical or just like morally shitty. With plants, I guess now that in comparison to like baby formula, I'm like, make your $20 on flipping the plant. Like, I don't care. But I do think the product matters. Having it be an essential, even toilet paper, it's like, if we all adopt that mindset of a scarcity mindset and we all do the same thing, it's going to be a pretty crappy world to live in. So, and let's take a moment to try and just define ethical. Unethical refers to actions or behaviors that go against moral principles, ethical standards, or accepted societal norms of right and wrong. I think that's it, right? Accepted societal norms of right and wrong. And again, now that we're talking about plants compared to like real things, it's kind of like that Martin Shkreli kid that bought up a few different pharmaceutical drugs at a cheap price and effectively like flipped them to people that needed them. It's kind of like morally crappy. You just really lack human decency, I think, in that. Now, if you're adding value to it, if you're going out to the Home Depot, say I run out here at 5 a.m. to the local Home Depot and I buy one and then I bring it back to West LA area and then I meet up with somebody, sure, and I put $15 on top of it for giving it to them, even that I'm like, just let people go get it on their own. It is tough. I'm not going to not acknowledge that we worked in the plant business for a while, but even the plants, like I always tried to up pot a plant, to change the vase that it's in, to add some type of value to that plant so it doesn't feel like I'm just, buying something for $5 and selling it for $6. And that industry always goes away. This reminds me of a really crappy practice even in like stock trading called front running, where if like traders know you're going to buy Apple stock for $120, they'll go in and buy it a fraction of a second before you for a few pennies less and then turn right to you within milliseconds and sell to you and make like a little bit of money, a few cents. It's called scalping. I personally think that's shitty. That's a crappy way to make a living. But a lot of industries are built on this. But again, they will not stick around unless that profit is protected, like a patent on a pharmaceutical. And another great point from the YouTube comments last week, I do not think it's ethical to buy them all up at a cheap cost and then resell them. I do understand if you import and acclimate them. Again, there is that adding the value. And they continue, but not if you just hoard them from a big box store. Then again, if your client does not care and is willing to pay hundreds, I guess to each their own. That's kind of where I'm at with it. And again, I brought this up to my wife and she kind of said like, what's it matter? But I just think it's like a basic human decency thing. So down in the comments, what do you guys think? Again, like Michelle is out now. Here's the map of where the dock block Michelles are located. Apparently they're through 600 Home Depots all across the US. People have been scoring across Jersey. I heard South Jersey is really popping. People have had good luck there. But like what worked today might not work tomorrow because people might be buying these up. But hopefully a lot of individual people are scoring. And that is the awesome part of why I think it's cool that the houseplant market's like cooling down, because there's not that much profit to make anymore. So all of us that are in it and like, I really want to see with these Michelles in person. Probably if I find one, I won't buy it, but I'll put it on my story on Instagram to show that it's there. But I heard people scored in Kansas City. People were saying on YouTube. I think Texas. Actually, I haven't had a confirmed Texas score yet. I heard Vegas people scored. And again, I heard people got some in Los Angeles. People were saying Glendale. I believe this Glendale store, Pasadena. So the dock block Michelles are out. If you're interested, don't panic and don't overpay for them because they are in TC. And I found this Reddit thread. I made a short about this yesterday, but this Reddit user says, grown at my job, we're about to ship thousands to Home Depot across the country. And then they show a picture from the nursery and it is like a room full of dock block Michelles. And these are the Proven Winner pots. I was doing some deep research on the Proven Winners company, and this is exactly the pot that they were using. So let me know down in the comments, what do you think on this topic? It's a gray area topic. It really depends on the product, I think, that you're trying to sell. I think houseplants, yeah, as long as it's reasonable, thank God we're not in like the Pink Princess era of flipping. But again, I do think the product matters, and I think you should be adding on some type of value to that product. Not only is it kind of like just crappy, but your business model isn't going to survive that long. So leave a thumbs up down below. Remember to subscribe. And again, comment down below. What do you think on this topic? Thank you for watching. Have a great day.